So this shelter is big enough for probably 8 people. It's 10 by 8. You could sleep in here overnight comfortably with 8 people, probably 6 with a fire. But my intent is to live in here on the weekends when I'm guiding for pig hunters. Certainly not every weekend, but any weekend that we have hunters coming in, I want to be able to stay out here in this shelter. I didn't use all natural materials. I used a 10 by 20 foot piece of plastic for my roof, and I used some roofing felt intermingled with natural materials on the walls. And I did that for a couple of reasons. You may find yourself in a resource-rich environment like I am right here. You really can't beat the South for bushcraft. You've got plenty of natural cordage around by vines. You've got any number of beneficial species like bamboo. I built this out of bamboo, river cane, dog fennel, but I digress. Anyway, if I had wanted to spend more time, I could have made very nice lashings out of yellow jasmine, but 2 things goes along with that. Time and resources. I didn't really feel like it was a good idea to use as much material for this shelter as I would have had to. Every bit of vegetation within a mile radius would have had to go for this shelter if I would have used nothing but natural vegetation. That's why I brought the roofing felt, and that's why I brought the plastic. The guy that I guide for, Bruce Jones, he owns EA Outfitters. He allowed me to build this out here, but you know, I didn't want to, you know, harvest an entire field worth of vegetation so that I could build the shelter. I didn't really feel like that was fair, so I brought out the man-made materials. And another time is another thing I wanted to talk about. You may find yourself in a more realistic scenario of you have one day to spend out in the woods, and you're not going to get a shelter like this built in a day using nothing but natural material. It's just probably not going to happen. A less realistic scenario, but a more severe one, would be a immersion, a water immersion emergency where you're dealing with hypothermia. If you have some man-made material with you, you can certainly affect shelter a whole lot faster than you could if you're relying on nothing but leaf litter and building a debris shelter. So there's a couple of different ways I look at things like that. One of them is realism, meaning my wife wants me home tonight, and a less likely scenario for me would be a more hypothermic, I need to get shelter built very quickly kind of event. But I think the shelter is going to be great for what I have planned for it. I was going to build that lean-to out front so I could sit out there and just kind of relax and have another fire pit out there. That'll have to wait, I think. I still have to get a rack made, a bed. I'd like to get a couple of chairs built tomorrow. So that lean-to will have to be kind of a luxury item that I can get later on. Back out here at my hunting camp. It's been about a month and a half to 2 months since I've even been out here to work, but I'm going to try to at least get the main body of this thing done today. I've got this front wall built over there. I was originally going to have my camp in that spot, and then I spotted a tree that's got a rotten hole in the trunk, so I had to move everything over here because I didn't want that potential catastrophe for that big old water oak to come crashing in on me. So I had to move everything over here. So I have the final wall built already, and I'm going to bring that over here today and stand it up. And then from there I just have a little bit more roof structure to put on, and then I can start layering it with some other dead material I've got laying around here. So I'll keep you posted as I work today. Thanks a lot. Here's the camp stove I made a couple months ago, guys. Haven't used it yet because I haven't had my camp done, but if you remember, I put a big coat of tallow over the top, a real thick coat of tallow over the top of the steel, and it's just barely showing any amount of rust at all. So it's a real good rust proofing agent. As you can see, this is basically still shiny steel. I'm going to use it as a footstool right now to get up to this ridge line. Alright y'all, I got the roof on now. I'm going to take my poncho here that I carry in my small bag. I'm going to gather up a bunch of leaf litter to put on the top. These branches that you see here, and even the leaf litter, or the pine needles, whatever I find with my poncho, it's not for camouflage, it's not for waterproofing at this point because I've got 7mm plastic up here. It's for weight to hold that plastic down. Big storms will come through and you'll get drastic pressure changes. When you get those pressure changes, that's what tries to suck that plastic up off of a roof. So I'm going to add some weight to that just with the few magnolia branches that I've got up here now, and then I'll find some leaf litter, some pine needles, throw it on top of there. I do have this fastened, basically threaded with some bank line in and around these upright posts here. It's just, it goes through the plastic, one round turn, back out another hole, and then the front of the plastic it's basically tied down all the way across so the wind can't get up underneath it to pull it off of there. That's done all the way around on all the edges. So now all I have to do is add some weight to it, and then the wind can't suck that plastic up off the roof, and you know, I'll be out there in the middle of the night, you know, sitting out under the stars. So just adding some weight to it now, and she'll be ready to move into. I got hunters coming in, I think 2 weeks from right now. Alright, I thought I'd show you the last addition I'm going to make to this thing before I sign off. These vines here, those are just water vines. You can see they grow all over down here. I've pulled several of these down out of the trees around, 3 major ones anyway, and I've got them drooped over the side that would be the most likely to see walking in here. Be this side here, and then up here on front I've got the biggest vine kind of put right here in front of the larger of the 2 sides, and that'll help it blend in quite a bit. Hey guys, I appreciate you watching. This isn't going to be the last you see of this camp. This is where I hopefully intend to shoot a lot of videos from here on out. I've got a lot of plans on things I want to make, and I didn't really want to do that in the garage. I didn't think that was real fair. You know, I do some of the things I do in the garage because, you know, I don't believe that you know, everything you're going to do, you're going to have to do in the bush. I think that if you prepare yourself at home, you may not run into an emergency in the wild. So do things at home and then take them to the field to test them. But for a lot of the things I wanted to do out here, I needed kind of a base camp, and this will work really well for that.